Unfortunately, in 2004, my great-uncle left us. So within less than a year, the two leaders of our family and of our family business had left. And in that same period, the CEO of Fiat, back then, decided to take advantage of a weak situation in which we found ourselves. We had no leader. We had a business who was in severe problems. We owed a lot of money to the banks. And he attempted to try and get many powers over that situation. And our reaction to that was basically not to get him. And we had an appointment of Sergio Marchionne as CEO of Fiat in 2004. Sergio used to work for SGS, which is a company of which we are the largest shareholder. And in 2004, he joined Fiat as CEO. And at that point, things definitely did change. The perspective we had as an organization of the future was much clearer. Fiat had changed 5 CEOs within the last 2 years. And slowly, but at the same time, rapidly, things started to improve. And in 2008, Fiat had its best financial year in its whole history. And that's when, out of our internal crisis, the world changed, and we had to face the financial crisis. And though our results had been good, we felt that the car business was in a weak situation. And so we were very open in 2008 about the fact that we needed to partner with someone. And if that meant also diluting our position as a family, we'd be happy to do that as long as we'd be part of a much bigger and healthier organization. So we had many discussions with many different competitors. And what happened in 2009 was that the car industry here in the US went into very severe crisis. And the actual administration decided to see how they could start finding solutions for that crisis. And we got involved in working to a plan on Chrysler, and we ended up being partner of Chrysler, which we now are, and in providing our support and working together with Chrysler to be a bigger car business. And in 2010, on the back of that, I was appointed chairman of Fiat, and we were able, as of 2 weeks ago, approve a very important decision, which is basically the spin-off of the capital goods business of Fiat, which means that Fiat today has decided to have 2 businesses. On one side, a business with all the car-related activities, and on the other side, a capital goods business. And this opens up a lot of new possibilities for our future, and this was an important step for us because it meant that the car business, with the association with Chrysler, is a much stronger business, and it did not need anymore to rely on the capital goods business, which are basically trucks, commercial vehicle, agriculture, and construction equipment. And so, at the age of 34, and the last decade of my work experience has really been extremely intense in facing both internal problems and also external problems. And when I think about these crises and I think about the future, clearly many more will come. And reality is you cannot really prevent them. So the important thing is to face them and react to them. Now, thinking about the future, I also started to try and understand what other families and businesses that worked together and worked out well, what were their secrets? And so what were common elements between family and businesses? And there's a couple of things that came out that I wanted to share with you tonight. Families and businesses are very different by nature. The values of a family are about being equal, helping each other. Instead of business, it's about performance and hierarchy. So these two worlds operate and function very differently. And so the important thing is, one, to be aware of this, and at the same time to find ways in which these two worlds can actually communicate and operate one with each other. And reality is that you have every type of solutions, and most of you have applied them. And so it can go to a case, for example, of the Haniel family in Germany, who've been together for more than 300 years, where basically no one from the family works in the family business. They all stay in the governance body. Or in the case of a French family, the Mullier family, who own Auchan, who are a distribution business, which have been for more than a century together, nearly everyone works in the business. And these two examples work and have worked for many times. So there's not really a solution here, but I think the lesson that I've learned is ultimately when a family and a business function, they generally function together. And so when one says that there's a trade-off between a business or family, ultimately that's not true. You have to have a family who works and a business who works. And the two will end up working well alongside. The other lesson that I learned was that basically it's very Darwinian in the sense families and family business have to evolve over time and adapt to an environment which is changing. And what's interesting, I was before a session where we learned about the Moller Group from Germany, and you see how they started in maybe 500 years ago, where they were trading grain, and then they started doing copper, and today they are an automotive player. They don't supply us, but they operate in the car industry. And so you see how they've evolved over time and changed profession. You can have examples on a smaller time frame. For example, the Lee family, who are the largest shareholder of Samsung, started in the 50s as sugar traders. And today, they've built one of the largest group in electronics. And it's not only about changing your profession or the business you are in, it's also changing geographies. For example, the Kaduri family is a family from the Middle East, and they moved to China 2 centuries ago and were the biggest trader in Shanghai at the beginning of last century. And then the revolution came and the war, they moved to Hong Kong, they rebuilt everything. Today they are in the energy sector and hotels. Or, for example, the Murdoch family, which basically started in the media business in Australia, moved to the UK, and now operate here in the US. So what's important is to be able to adapt to the environment, both in terms of your business, but also your geography. Now, having said all of this, what I want to share with you, and when I think about the future, is that I have today 2 boys. The picture. And if I think about the future, I think about them. My 2 sons are called Leone and Oceano, which are not family names. And we really wanted them to have their own names, because what's important for us is that they have their own identity. What's important for us is that they build their life on their own merits. And we want to provide them all support and help and enable them to do their lives. If they want to work in the family business, if they want to create their family business, or if they want to do other professions. that is not important for us. What's important for us is that they build their own life. The only thing that's really important for us is to try and avoid that they have some behaviors which you can find in wealthy families, which basically are a sense of guilt to be wealthy, which is a sense of entitlement or complacency. And these are three things that we really want to avoid them having. And the way we look at this is to try and basically give them a sense of responsibility. So I thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any type of questions.